Firstly, we would like to thank RVSLA for hosting the Connect Summit 2024. My name is Karlee.
And my name's Ada.
Can I ask you all a question? Have you ever felt impacted by the power of a moment? Has a small act ever changed the chemistry of your lifestyle or mindset?
Usually, we see influence as a big bang, something that has to be extravagant. But I found that small moments can hold more power and can hold more influence.
Ada and I became close friends and someone we can trust to each other over a small moment that was not dedicated to us becoming friends. We noticed the power in smiling together and laughing together at that moment, and now it has influenced the course of our grade 10 years.
Now, we didn't talk at all last year, but we both started at Croxford in 2022. And I would say a defining moment in our friendship was an earlier RBSLA meeting when we went to the Calgary Drop-In Donation Center. We were behind the scenes, sorting donations, laughing, and really connecting. We, as year ones, did not set up or organize this event in any way, but we volunteered our time and had a great experience participating with this organization. This is a moment Karlee and I have talked about as a grounding and stable moment in our friendship.
Something we noticed when we volunteered at the donation center that day was that the experience was grounding, humbling, and fulfilling. We felt as though we had used our time for the greater good and also built a connection through it. This experience felt like something that truly mattered, but nobody really knew we did it at the time. It was just something we could do for others to make a small difference, even if it was just for a couple families at the center that day. This was a very powerful moment for both our leadership and our friendship.
We left that with that feeling grateful and with a sense of purpose. It gave us a better understanding of our impact. If you have one takeaway from this story, it's that leadership does not have to exhaust you to be meaningful. Moments in leadership have the power to change your perspective and bring people together.
Although big leadership projects can feel exhausting at times, I feel the same pride in myself as a leader when I make someone smile or organize clothes for them at the donation center, and by doing random acts of kindness throughout my day. To me, being a leader means realizing that leadership as a habit through small gestures is just as important.
A metaphor that helps me remember is one I was taught in elementary school. It's called the fill your bucket. And it's the whole premise that every single person you meet has a bucket, and it gets filled with positivity, kindness, and good gestures. The downside is that buckets get emptied by negativity, rude comments, and insults. When thinking about being a leader or becoming a leader, we should think of it as having the skills and how to utilize those skills and put those principles in our day-to-day lives.
Though this analogy is simple, sometimes the simplest and smallest acts can mean and do the most. A bucket filled by a million small moments is equally as full as one that was filled by one large moment.
Another way you can look at it is one totally awesome moment can be brought down by one not so awesome moment. Small acts, when practiced continuously, have a long-lasting effect and help keep the buckets around you filled.
The takeaway from this is that no matter the size of your good deed, the prominence and influence is the exact same. Don't diminish the positivity you put out into the world because it doesn't feel as big as someone else's.
To flow into our next big example, we'd like to say that small things and the power of a moment can be shown in leadership, like at school assemblies.
This year at Croxford, we hosted a school-wide spirit assembly that was focused on mental health. The theme was Up and Away with Stigma, derived from the movie Up. The assembly was a leadership-driven event and took a lot of time and effort to plan. It featured two great MCs that played a vital role. They were the face of the assembly. The one aspect of the assembly that truly stuck was a feeling that was created because of students who took on a behind-the-scenes role. 10 to 15 leadership kids who didn't play a speaking role held clusters of balloons on a long string. On cue from another student, we snuck into the gym when the lights were out and released our many balloons up. Once the lights were on, students in the gym that were attending the assembly looked around and saw a bunch of random balloons at the gym. This tied the theme together and engaged the crowd. It made everyone in the gym feel a sense of belonging to something bigger than themselves. This is what positive school climate building feels like through the power of a small moment.
I personally was not at school that day, yet almost all of my friends and peers came up to me and were talking about how the school felt different, how this moment really mattered. This small act from just a few quiet behind the scenes role made such a massive school spirit impact.
Without all the leadership kids holding the balloons who were willing to sit in a staff room for half an assembly doing absolutely nothing, we wouldn't have made the impact on the school that we had. Even though the people sitting in the crowd with the balloons weren't the face of the event, nor were they the loudest people in the room, they tied the whole assembly together and made it feel different than anything else we had done before. This small moment was exactly what we needed to make a huge difference.
This doesn't diminish anyone's role, but rather emphasizes the importance of embracing the smaller acts and the smaller people, because they might have made the largest impact. This is a moment where we saw the school embrace positive and powerful small acts.
A good leader always needs a team of good leaders around them. When everyone takes part and puts effort in, the impact can be great no matter how big or small the role they play is.
Realizing that small acts and roles, oh,
Finding value and purpose in doing what you can, even if it's a small act, is vital to growing as a leader and as a human being.
realizing that small acts and roles make us just as big as a difference as the huge ones show us that we don't have to be the most forward and frontal person in the room to make an impact.
Rather than thinking your impact can only be made if you take on the largest role or complete the largest, most public task, see that your behind the scenes work contributes to the bigger picture equally as much.
In leadership this year, both in RVSLA and in class at Croxford, we noticed that the tech kids and logistically minded students, when paired with the public speakers, curate the perfect moments in our school and the perfect events in our school.
We aren't saying that the big leaders and the big voices don't matter, or that the only way to be a leader is to do small acts.
But we want to tell you that the small things count and add to the leadership community, creating a more well-rounded and creative space.
You control how you do leadership. Realizing your little acts are powerful moments allows us to embrace the importance of moments and the small things and how they count. Because every full puzzle needs all of its individual pieces, no matter their size or shape.